So have you ever been so hooked to sugar, cakes, donuts, and you feel like you're addicted, you can't really stop yourself from eating literally anything aside from those? At least for me, when I struggle with binge eating, I used to always justify to myself that, okay, like sugar is good for me because, you know, if it fits your macros, it'll help improve my gym lifts. So I tried to eat more and more sugar, even though I was trying to like lie to myself that I was actually really struggling with binge eating. I always just tried to lie to myself like, oh, it'll help me improve my squat. And for some reason, I recognized that my squats, my bench, my deadlifts were going lower and lower and lower, and then I was just feeling more, well, actually less energetic. I kept on having sugar crashes. Even just by 10 a.m. I would just feel like, oh, I just want to go to sleep, even though the day just started. I'd lose motivation for the gym, I'd lose motivation for working, I'd lose motivation for almost everything. I just wanted to just eat cookies, cakes and donuts and just watch TV all day, essentially. So if you're struggling with sugar addiction like I did, then here are 6 tips on how to end sugar addiction. So number 1 is very counterintuitive. It's a bit strange, but you should still keep the foods you feel like you're addicted to. Because with sugar addiction, it's not actually a recognized term by the DSM-5. It's not recognized, at least yet, by the DSM-5. Because when we're addicted to sugar, it's because we're depriving ourselves of these foods. Have you ever noticed it's because you're depriving yourself of these foods? That's why you're often addicted to it. So I'm not just saying just eat the food and then start a binge eating episode, but number 1 is to focus on trying to include these foods. Don't try to cut them out of your diet cold turkey. Don't cut them out immediately, but try to include these foods, but try to pair it with protein. So if you have like chocolate bar or chocolate balls, for example, which I really enjoy, then try to pair it with Greek yogurt. Because if you pair the carbohydrates or the sugar with protein, like for example, chocolate balls with Greek yogurt, then it's gonna make it more filling because protein is very filling, it's very satisfying, but also it's also mentally satisfying, psychologically satisfying to have the chocolate along with it. So try to pair all of your sugary foods with protein. Easy, convenient sources of protein. Greek yogurts, cottage cheese, tuna if you're having a meal. There are lots of different convenient sources of protein, so make sure that you always try to include those. And my appetite would massively go higher and higher the leaner I got, which is actually evolutionary, because if you try to avoid the foods that your body needs, sugar is essentially your brain's primary source of fuel, sugar, glucose. So if you're avoiding these, cutting them out, and also you're also like reducing your calories, then it's only natural that you'll want to have foods that you naturally crave, and your brain's primary source of energy is sugar, so you're just naturally just gonna want to have it. So make sure that you're eating enough calories. If your body runs on like, let's say like 2,500 calories or 2,000 calories at an average for men and women, then if you're eating like 1,000 calories, it's quite skip meals, then your cravings for sugar actually go up. Tip number 3 is to eat regular balanced meals. So you're gonna have more cravings for sugar. Let's say it's easy to eat like 5 donuts effortlessly. I could just pile through like 5 donuts in my mouth right now, especially if I'm hungry. If I'm hungry, I could pile down 8 massively. Probably because I expanded my stomach back then when I was like struggling with binge eating. I was constantly full. But if you're having balanced meals, protein, fats, carbs and fiber, then protein is the most satisfying and satiating, filling macronutrient. Fats help regulate your hormones, to regulate your hunger cues and make a meal also satisfying. Fiber is also very filling. You're much more likely to be full if you're eating whole grain pasta compared to white pasta. And also make sure you include carbs, because carbs are also essential in your meal. Carbs, or people would call sugar, but starchy carbs like rice, pasta, bread, still keep those in, because if you're having like a balanced meal or a balanced snack, then it's gonna make you much less likely to have sugar cravings. Because if you're having balanced meals, your blood glucose levels or your blood sugar levels also get regulated. Because if I was to have like 3 cookies right now, my blood sugar levels will go up and then it would crash. But if I was to have like 3 cookies with 2 pieces of cheese or like Greek yogurt on the side with some honey, because the protein stabilizes your blood sugar levels, it will go a little bit high, but then it would like stabilize. It won't go like massively high and all the way down. That's called food pairing. So it's a really helpful skill in people who struggle with or have diabetes, but it's still a very relevant skill, food pairing, if you're trying to like reduce your sugar crashes and your sugar rises. So make sure you include balanced meals into your diet, protein, fats, carbs and fiber into your day. And if you want to learn on how to make balanced meals, then I'll link this video right over here on how to make balanced meals. And also, making balanced meals is also a great way to reduce or get rid of binge eating episodes. So check this video here. So number 4 is don't cut out any foods you love. If you absolutely love having like rice, then don't cut it out of your diet and just ignore rice for the rest of your life. Especially for me, when I grew up as an Asian background in the Philippines, rice was really important for every meal. Sometimes breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Actually, I'd have rice all the time. And if I was to say, cut out all sugars, cut out all carbs, then essentially I'm cutting out all the nostalgia in my life, all the happiness from my life. I love pairing all of my meals with carbs. Even now, living in the UK, like 8% of my meals were even carbs. And I also have like fond memories. If I was gonna have a massive exam, my mom, before I'd go down for breakfast, would prepare like a nice big meal, a feast of like garlic rice, spam, corned beef, hot dogs, things that would make me in a massively good mood and also like fuel me, because of course rice is fuel. But if I was to cut out the foods I love, rice from my diet, bread from my diet, then I'm literally just not gonna be full or satisfied, because there's a difference between being full and satisfied. And if I could be full, probably just eating like literally plain chicken breasts and like vegetables. And if there's no part of the meal which I actually enjoy, for me is rice, then I'm not gonna be satisfied, because it's one thing to be full, but it's another thing to be satisfied. And if you're either not full or not satisfied, then your cravings for sugar or cravings for food is gonna massively increase. There's this thing in science called the forbidden fruit theory, where essentially in science is if you try to avoid or cut out certain things, you're gonna want it even more. And that's essentially the basis for everything I'm talking about right now with overcoming sugar cravings. So make sure that you keep the foods you love, but make sure it's still balanced. So number 5 is to make sure you're hydrated, because it's easy to think like, okay, I have a craving or I'm feeling hungry, I'm gonna jump straight to like X food, I'm gonna eat something. But sometimes if you have a craving, try to drink some water and see how you feel, because sometimes that's probably all you need. Or maybe you might need some electrolytes, you might need a bit of like coffee or tea or something, just to like see if it's actually a craving or is it just because you're thirsty. There's so many people here in the UK, or at least everywhere in the world, US, Germany, whatever, wherever you live, so many people actually underdrink their fluid. They say you need like roughly like 2 liters a day, but that's just a benchmark. Some people are bigger, some people are smaller. I'd say try to make sure that your pee is like light yellow, or probably in the whiter side, because if you go for a pee and your pee is literally just like dark yellow, then you need to drink more. You need to make sure you're drinking regularly. If this is too much thinking effort for you, just make sure you just hit at least 2 liters a day, at least. And finally, number 6 on how to overcome sugar addiction is, first of all, you need to like recognize, why am I wanting this food? Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Am I annoyed? Am I even just craving this food because I want the psychological satisfaction? Am I stressed? Am I bored? Because sometimes the first and best step, which is gonna help you overcome your sugar cravings, is to recognize and be reflective of, why do I want this? I don't have a craving for like sugary foods right now because I just had breakfast, but later on, if I had the craving for like a donut that's in my fridge right now, then I have to like think to myself, why do I want it? Is it just because I'm bored after filming this video? Or maybe I'm just rewarding myself for filming this video? Or am I actually hungry? It's important to recognize why you want things, because the first step to any recovery or overcoming anything is awareness. So what I want you to do is, every time you have a craving for sugar, or you want to head over to the biscuits or cakes or cookies, then write on a little journal, 10 o'clock right now, which is the time right now, 10 o'clock in the morning, I have a craving for like donuts. How am I feeling? I'm feeling bored. And then try to recognize if there's a similar pattern going on. And then if you recognize it's always because you're bored, then try to implement an activity which is quite fun for you, or like even if it's gaming, something that doesn't make you bored, or reading a book, or listening to a podcast, or just watching some YouTube videos, and see if you have these cravings for sugar again. It's important to recognize how you're feeling and why you're doing this, rather than jumping to the little hacks and tips which I provided on how to overcome sugar cravings. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments below, what is the most eye-opening tip and probably your main weakness when it comes to sugar cravings, and why do you think you are having these sugar cravings? Is it because you're bored, excited? Because it doesn't even have to be a bad thing. Sometimes it could be just a good thing to have sugar cravings. It could be a celebration. Or it's because you're annoyed, stressed, hungry, and probably you have no satisfaction psychologically. Maybe you're being bullied, or you're a people pleaser, because sometimes that can increase the sugar cravings. That's completely a whole different ballpark. That's completely a whole different video. So let me know if you want me to talk about like emotions and cravings. Comment below if you want me to make more on those, and I'll see you in the next video. So like, comment, subscribe, and share this video for people who are struggling with sugar cravings. Essentially, it's gonna be a really big topic to cover on. So I'll see you in the next video. See ya!